The issues is cops need to be trained a lot more. I really do.
We can talk about that if you want. But
No, we're going to talk about respect and appreciation this morning. Yeah, we can talk about that at a different time. I'm totally open. I just don't want to do that right now. Because that episode's going to be longer on those topics. I think you got to give yourself a full hour when you start talking about that stuff. We are live at Weirman Media. Coming at you live.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to turn on my camera and we'll be good to go. The mics are hot and the camera's hot. The mic's hot, the camera's hot.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
YouTube streaming, Twitch is streaming. We're all streaming and beaming.
Willie beaming.
Willie beaming. Good morning, folks. Today we're going to talk about respect and appreciation. And I think it's really important, in being that we're More Love Nation here.
RESPECT folks.
And
we're LIVE.
And Weirman Media. And we're talking about as individuals and when it comes to business, I think I really want to focus on our personal experience and how we've realized how respect and appreciation allows relationships on a micro level to work, and then on a macro level.
Thanks for being with us,
on a macro level, we're going to talk about how, mainly, because we always like to bring it back to social media and engagement, how respect and appreciation should always be used online as well. I think a lot of people now with social media, they might act like that in real life, but they get online and they act like they're just badass person who can talk shit and becomes all negative and think they can just say what they want. So I think it's important that when we're interacting online, it's just as important to have respect and appreciation in our differences. I think it's super relevant right now with COVID and the mask and the race stuff with the cops and with the election, that we always show respect and appreciation to anybody on both sides of these fences of these issues. And especially as someone, if you're operating a business, you should always be showing respect and appreciation and more love to whatever you're doing to haters out there. Like if you're trying to do something, start a media company or make music or start a business, there's going to be haters out there, and respect and appreciation is key to that. And I think it's rooted in the law of abundance. Like we talked about the law of abundance and gratitude before in one of our other podcasts, and how that's the mindset where in the power of the mindset of love, where I don't ever need to give, and no matter how much hate someone gives me and disrespect someone gives me, I don't need to give them that back. I could still approach that person. Doesn't mean I'm not going to check them and like let them walk all over me, but I don't need to respond with attacking them back or hating them back. I can check them still, while still holding my ground, but not giving them hate, while giving them respect and appreciation. And when it comes to appreciation, I think you should appreciate haters just as much as people that love your stuff, because haters...
Love it or hate it, we appreciate it.
Every time there's a hater, I think that's an opportunity to connect that person, maybe hopefully try to get them to see why they're hating. Because 90% of the time, it's because they hate themselves or they're insecure about themselves and they don't like their life, so they're going to hate you, someone else. And at the end of the day, people that hate and troll, they're usually people that aren't doing what you're doing. People that are doing stuff don't hate because they realize how difficult it is. People that hate and troll, they're sitting on their ass not doing shit. So once you realize...
Full of ego.
Once you realize that, you'll be like, who cares what their opinion is? But we don't want you to ignore haters. We want you to approach them.
Engage with them.
Engage.
But don't do so in an aggressive, violent fashion. Just do so in a forceful, direct fashion that's more about constructiveness. But yeah, I think you're right. I think respect and appreciation are a great topic, Zaya. And I think respect for me, not only respect and appreciation for life, number one, is one of my most valuable tools. When Mom died, it brought me respect and appreciation for life. And I think a lot of people, if they just could have a respect and appreciation for the chance to be alive and be healthy in America, would be ahead of a lot of people. Yeah. For me, that's one of my most valuable tools, is I'm desperate and I'm appreciative of being alive. And having my mom die at a young age, it made me appreciate that.
Yeah, and I want to go into action steps of how to practice these things. So for one, appreciation. How do we practice appreciation on an individual level and on a large scale of social media? Appreciation starts with telling people thank you. Thanking them for their support. Thanking people for your support.
Thanking them for being in the show.
Just thanking people in general. That's how you practice appreciation. And by giving. By giving.
Give.
Giving more than you ask. That's also how appreciation. Those are the action things that we like to represent in life. If you can put that to any area of your life, especially in business, if you're not thanking your followers and supporters, if you're not giving to them value, giving them even free stuff, giving them stuff, like that's how you show appreciation. And then respect means no matter how much you may disagree or have a different perspective to someone, you're willing to listen to their side and you're never going to attack their character and verbally or physically attack them in any way while you disagree with them and their perspective, their belief system. Respect means no matter what, you are not going to attack their character. You can openly disagree with someone while still listening to their side of the street without having to attack them. That's respect.
Yeah, a big part of my ability to have appreciation and have respect for others is my experiences and my pain and suffering. It leads me to be more empathetic and open-minded to other people and their backgrounds, experiences, and so forth. And I think a big part of having appreciation and having respect for others is someone having gratitude. And I think that's one thing that you talk about a lot is gratitude. And I think for some reason when I hear these two words, they make me think of gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's what I said. I mentioned law of abundance and gratitude.
And there's and that's the other thing. Like America has so much abundance. I just don't think people realize.
It's not even just America. The world with the way technology is. Anywhere you go with media and technology and social media, and everything's international business nowadays, especially in America. But I don't care anywhere in the world as long as you're not in a third world country. It's a little different. But in a modern developed country, any modern developed country in the world, the abundance is unlimited.
But here especially, like it's
unlimited.
If you look at here, like if you want to and you have the sacrifice, discipline, and hard work, you could literally tomorrow decide that you're gonna go chase a dream and you could make it happen. As long as you have the discipline, the sacrifice, the hard work, and the willingness, like you can make anything happen in America. That's possible other places too, Zaya, but for me, having done it firsthand, built a moving company, it's like, wow, it's there for everyone if you want it. No matter what. You can be how many countries can you throw a football and a basketball and shoot a hockey puck or play fucking video games and make six figures?
Yeah, you can do that all across the world in any modern developed country. It's
just the extra.
I like how you say America, but I also feel like we have an audience
here.
We have an audience across the world, and I think it's bullshit if you're not living in America and you say just because I'm not in America I can't do that.
Totally.
You could do that anywhere. I'm just saying modern developed because obviously there are third world countries where you go to where access to food and the internet and energy aren't there. That's a little different. But if you live in a modern developed country, Australia, anywhere in Europe, countries in South America, Russia, Asia, Japan, China, even like any of these countries where they're modern developed world countries with internet, technology, access to social media, international business that can be done, anyone can do these things that you want to do. Anyone. And even if you somehow can't do it there, you know you can move somewhere to do it. So there's no excuse other than living in a third world country. Actually, even third world countries is an excuse because those people will sacrifice and move here to do it.
So I just think it's interesting because if you look at respect in relationships, like I start to look at this through a relationship lens. If I'm respecting and appreciating someone or something, it's going to be really hard for us to have conflict. Or at least not work through conflict. Like if you think about me and my friend
Work through conflict, I think, is key.
It is key. Work through it.
Doesn't mean you're not going to have conflict ever with respect. You're able to use respect as a way to work through conflict without having resentment and ego and attacking people's character. Everyone does that, dude. If you go online and inventory now, everyone just attacks everyone's character. And I hate to cut my brother off because I thought that was really pointed. He says working through conflict.
I hate to cut you off.
Working through conflict is key, but it can't be done without respect. It cannot be done. What happens if you don't respect? It comes out and you don't even want to talk to the person. And that's childish. It's so immature and childish. That's what little kids do. They get in a conflict and they just go, well,
I'm right, you're wrong.
Not even that. They just go, they look at the kid and go, well, fuck you, chubby Jimmy. Your mom's PB&J suck.
Your mom's PB&J suck.
And he runs off the playground and goes over to the and then he'll kick his shin and then run away. And that's what Americans are doing as adults right now with the climate we're in. Everyone's in a bad state emotionally.
And they're kicking each other in the shin like little kids that hate each other's.
And they're talking shit about each other, and then there's no respect. And then guess what happens at the end of it? Nothing, no groundwork or progress is made within the conflict of the conversation of what's going on. There's no solution.
I just found it interesting.
It's hilarious.
The
It's
other
hilarious,
day, I was
bro.
having a conversation with my friend Derek Smith, and I was like, wow, this made me realize, like, one of my most valuable tools is my appreciation and respect for life. It's so simple. But, like, just think about that. We were talking about that the other day, Zaya, and you were talking about how we're going to die, all of us, and it's sooner than later. We all have a day in the book somewhere.
80. Let's just put 80 as enough. 77, 78 years old is the average lifespan right now.
So let's say 80
years old, you're dead.
I'm 28 right now. I'm turning 29
62
soon.
years. And the blimp of the
That's a blimp. That's a blimp.
How long our universe and galaxy has been around? Like, that's a fucking blimp.
So that makes me be appreciative of, like, my time and be like, okay, I better take action. I better do something.
You got 62 years, man. That's not a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot, but at the same time, it's not.
It's not.
The whole micro-macro thing, you're right. It's not. It's not.
As Gary Vee says, micro speed, macro patience.
Exactly, it's the same thing. So 62 years, yeah. In the macro, in the life of in the world of the universe, it's not very much time. But in a human's life, it's 62 years is a while.
But how you balance that is, like
Exactly.
Gary Vee says, it's the best quote I've ever heard Gary Vee say. It's hard to say it. It's the best perspective to ever have. Micro speed, macro patience. If you can understand that concept, it means you're going to bust your ass micro speed, but you're not going to be grinding through life, always never happy, looking for the future because you have macro patience. So you're getting the best of both worlds of, like, I need to hustle now because I'm going to die when I'm 80, but I also have patience where I can enjoy the process.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because everything that you talk about should be looked at a micro-macro lens. And when you hear us talk about micro-macro a lot here, and it's ultimately because
Perspective.
It's all about this. We listen to Gary Vee a lot, and micro-macro, like, everything's micro-action and macro-action. And it's how you do it and how you find balance in that gets you to where you want to go. I'm closer to death than you guys, laugh out loud, Dell said. Closer to death than you guys. Well, let's change that, Dell. Come on, man. Fuck.
But let's bring this back to how does people practice appreciation, Rambo? Like, I want you to share.
Appreciation to me is gratitude. I think number one, eating shit more. So that's number one for me. I think peoples need to start living a little bit less in comfort and living a little bit more in discomfort and facing fear and doing things and challenging themselves because it requires you to sacrifice, maybe eat a little bit more shit, and then you start to gain more appreciation and gratitude. Because if I live my whole life in my stagnant, stuck comfort zone, like me and Dell talked about the other day, I'm going to have a really hard time being appreciative and being grateful for life. So yeah. I think for me, I would say eat more shit or, like, sacrifice more or do more or challenge yourself more.
Yeah, and I think what's even doing that's great. I got one I think is even better.
Oh, yeah?
Go to a country where people are eating shit, and you will realize how great we have here. Go to another country somewhere, visit another culture. That'll open your mind. It'll bring awareness. A country that's not as developed as this.
But you can do it here too, folks.
You can, but I'm saying by going there and coming back, before you do what my brother's saying, you'll realize that that's not even eating shit, really. Like, if I put myself in a situation that he defines as eating shit in America, other people in other countries would die for that opportunity because it's really not eating shit. It is, like he's saying, because we have it so good and so cushy that even if you're sleeping out of the back of your car, whatever,
in Minnesota or Hawaii,
that's still not eating shit compared to third world countries where they eat shit every day. Like India, it's like certain countries, there's poverty so bad. For me, that perspective will carry over, so that even if I have to make sacrifices, I'll be like, dude, this isn't even that hard of a sacrifice. I just went to the third world country and came back. So I think you should do both. I think you should go to a third world country, experience that, and then come back and realize your little sacrifices that you have to make aren't really shit.
Yeah, that's the reality. I agree 100%. But
so when he says eat shit, it's not even that hard. It's like he's talking about eating fucking delicious shit.
I mean, yeah, but let's face it, people are soft in America, so they find Americans think it's eating shit if you have to live in we're so fucking soft. We want to live in a huge house. We want to be able to click and order something online from anywhere, any place in the world and get it in no time. And we want to be able to drive a luxury car in a sedan, and we want to be able to make six figures on cruise control. And we don't really want to have to. It's just remarkable how many of us want to just be on cruise control.
Yeah, but I think appreciation is the key no matter what you want to do. Even if you don't want to eat shit and you're in a part of your life where you're just blessed enough where you don't have to. Some people are so blessed with access to finances and coming from money or whatever, they don't even have to do what my brother's saying. But that won't work if you're not appreciative. Like my brother says, if you don't have gratitude for wherever you're at, appreciation, no matter what situation you're in, even if you don't have to eat shit, it's never going to work because you're not in gratitude and appreciation.
Dell said, what ways do you use to help change your way of thinking or reacting negatively when you want to lash out at someone or talk negatively about them? How can you look at that person from a different perspective? Dell, this is a great question. You want to answer it first there or me?
I think it's really simple. When you
comes back to respect and appreciation.
Yeah, first off, 90% of the 90 to 95% of the time when I'm reactive negatively to someone or lashing out, it's usually my feelings or my own ego that's getting bruised. Sometimes they are attacking you. They might be attacking you and you might feel that's justified. But a lot of times I don't even feel like that's the case. I think a lot of times it's us lacking our own inventory of it has something to do within me why I'm reacting negatively. We instantly want to look at them. So like 90% of the time it's just me. I'm having a bad day. It's my own fucked up brain not being grateful in a good place spiritually. No matter who comes at me, it could be the littlest thing. It could be the gas station clerk and I'm going to lash out at them. It's me, not them. So it's really more about me and my inventory and why I'm negative thinking that way. And it's usually lack of gratitude and appreciation. 2, if they are attacking me and I feel righteous that they deserve to go back, I have to respond back recognizing that I'm not going to attack back because they're a human. They also lack awareness. They may lack gratitude and appreciation, and they have shortcomings about them. So I'm not going to attack them because I'm feeding into their insecurities and their fears and their unhappiness. So I'm actually, they're pulling me down in their pity party in their misery loves company. So that's how I would just respond to it.
I think that's a great way of looking at it, really. I mean, that's pretty much exactly how you should look at it. But ultimately, my point would be, I have a trick, and I come from empathy. And having had a mom I loved, I try to look at everyone like they're my mom. Literally, I try. My mom was like one of these really sweet, innocent little women, and like if I look at people when I go out in public, like the most empathetic person, like if I look at them like they're my mother, I try and look at others like they are someone that is.
Or your grandma.
That is my mom. So if I do that, it really helps me. I literally will find myself where I'm in stores, and I'm like, my mom used to be really slow when we were checking out at the grocery store, and I couldn't stand it kind of, but I learned to appreciate it. So now when I go out to the gas station or I'm waiting in line, I look at people in front of me. I'm like, oh, why are you so slow getting your checkbook out? And I'll think about my mom. And I'll be like, so I try to think about them like someone I really appreciate and respect. And when I really appreciate someone and respect them, I'm much more open-minded, empathetic, and patient. So that's, for me, one of my most crucial tools is to be more open-minded and think of someone like they're someone that I care about and respect and appreciate. So for me, that was my mom. And ultimately realizing that all of us humans struggle with pain and suffering helps it make it easier to be open-minded, patient, and empathetic for other people because...
Because 90 to 95% of the time, it's them. So when they're lashing back out at me, it's them. It's nothing.
And it's me.
It has nothing to do with me.
That's a great point. It's them and it's me. Because like if I'm lashing out, it's me.
It's still you. And
then you realize when it's them, it's them. Yes. So you realize it's both of us having something wrong. It's both of us.
Exactly. But usually if they're whoever's doing it first, I'm saying it's them. So if I'm lashing out, it's me. And I say 95 to 95% of the time because there are times
my point is
when that's not the case, where someone is just like attacking you, and you have to fucking put up a wall to protect yourself.
But then you don't surround yourself with those people anymore.
Yeah, you can detach. But 90 to 95% of the time, it's all within yourself. It's all within them. And to change your perspective to react that way, like my brother said, it's the same thing I said. They all have pain and suffering. They all have ego, fear, and insecurities. We're all humans who are imperfect. We all have lack of gratitude, lack of awareness, lack of appreciation, lack of perspective. When you understand that, it's almost like for me, when you begin to understand psychology so much and why people do what they do, it's hard to even hate anybody or have anger.
It's impossible.
Because I understand psychology so much and how people are, all of my own inventory and audit, that I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get mad at them because they're just acting this way because it's how people act this way. And all I could do is focus on my side of the street. My job and my only power and control is how I inventory and audit myself and how I react and give to others. That is it. I have no power over anyone else in their reaction. And you're giving them power. By reacting that way, you're giving them power over you. If you can say no one's going to affect my emotional state,
yeah, totally.
You're giving them your power. You're giving them a power. In fact, you're giving them a superpower. If you think about it, that's a superpower. You're allowing other people to control your emotions.
People, places, and
by
things.
the way they treat you.
Yeah, just think about that. Most men are like that. A lot of people, especially, are like that, especially men. They let people, places, and things insult them and then piss them off and make poor, impulsive decisions.
Then you're under the spell of other people.
It's terrible. Just think about that, dude. Like when I go out in public, but number one, what I think about Dell is a psychic change also doesn't happen overnight. He said change your thinking, and I think that's a great point. But ultimately,
the practice, you have to want to do this.
It's conditioning and fitness.
Yeah,
Del.
you have to condition yourself to do this. You can't just like try this one day and wait a month and then try it again. You're never going to change your thinking. Every day it wakes up, we're starting with appreciation and gratitude and abundance, and then going out in the world and be like, no matter what happens, I'm going to come in with empathy. I'm going to treat this person like they're my mom or my grandma. No matter what they say, I'm not going to stoop to their level of negativity. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to stay grateful. I'm going to stay. And actually, if you listen
That's leadership.
Yeah, and
too.
if it's leader. And if you listen to understand them,
Appreciate you, Del.
it's easier. Like when people are reacting to me, I really want to understand them. So I'm listening. So when I begin to understand them, when someone's talking like that, they could be talking shit to me.
Aloha, Serena.
Aloha, Serena. They could be talking shit. You know what my response could be like, man, it sounds like you're really angry today. What's going on, bro? I can see how that response, I'm responding back to them even though they were attacking me. And 9 out of 10 times, that person's actually going to like me at the end of it and be like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I wasn't you, dude, that came here to order the monster at the gas station clerk.
How's Hawaii, Serena? I'm listening, Zaya. You keep going. I'm just talking to the audience.
But if you respond to understand, a lot of times what you can realize is healing and connection in that process. I'll be like, what's going on, bro? I just got a monster here. Why are you reacting that way? And they're going to be like, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm having a shitty day. I fucking hate my boss. I hate this fucking job, and I didn't get any goddamn stimulus money. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. Well, I hope, you have an opportunity to connect there, so.
Here's the other thing, Del, I like to do. I elevate the level. So if the more angry, confrontational, aggressive someone comes at me from, the more empathetic I am. So look at it like that. Del, just simply, if the more aggressive someone is, the more come at them with more appreciation, respect, kindness, and empathy. Like
it's a game.
Yeah, because if someone that hates you, it's just like giving someone a gift that wants to blow you up. Like if we went, instead of going to war with countries, if we gave them a bunch of money and built their roads, schools, and water systems, they're not going to hate us as much anymore.
No.
So if someone acts like they're angry and miserable and you run into them or you bump into them at the store, like if you meet them with love, like Isaac and my brother lives with
More Love Nation
lives by it. More Love Nation, you will have a very hard time not getting along or having some kind of cooperation if you meet them with kindness, empathy, love, compassion, and so forth. And the more aggressive they are and the more confrontational they are, the more love, empathy, compassion, and kindness I come with.
Yes.
Because it's hard for them. Like if someone's cussing at me.
It's not about you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about you.
Them.
It's not about you ever. It's about them. We instantly think we did something wrong or we instantly react. And like my brother says, if you're non-reactive, that's key here.
You're non-reactive.
Non-reactive.
Neutral is what we talk about.
Let everything flow and then respond by love, kindness, empathy, compassion. It's remarkable how this works. The Dalai Lama talks about this. The Dalai Lama
is godsend
about this.
He's amazing.
Like this is how confrontation, diffusion works. I've learned about this. I used to work in detox. My first job in the chemical dependency was detox, and they train you how to get drunk people who are ready to fight you, calm them down. Not easy. Drunk people that want to fight. That's what you deal with every day. And this is basically what you do. You don't react. You let them go in their little fucking baby fit, and then as soon as they calm down, you react and respond with love and compassion and empathy. It's amazing how it works. It's amazing. I look at it as a game.
The only place that might not work is Kentucky prison.
Yeah, but I look at it as a game, as a challenge, as a skill to develop, right? Just like we're talking about skills with public speaking and marketing and sales, the skill of practicing confrontation, diffusion, and love and empathy towards people is a skill.
It's so valuable.
It's a skill.
It's so valuable.
It's a game that you should play. Like, how can I wake up every day, no matter what comes my way, I'm going to practice love and empathy and not engage in this negative shit.
But you said something really key that I think has a lot of value is neutrality.
Non-reactive.
If you think about every event in life, it's neutral.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great topic right here. We'll lean into it more. My brother said neutral. He said he looks at people from a neutral lens. He doesn't try and go into it with a bias or a judgment or like a predisposition. So if you think about that, no matter what occurs in life, it's always neutral. Events in life are all neutral. It's how we interpret and react
to them.
So me and my brother could both get in a fender bender. I could be the guy that says, "Oh, God just told me to slow down because I'm moving too fast," and I say, "Oh, this was positive." I only got a little ding in my bumper, and I'm not hurt, and I look at it positively.
Fundamentals are always positive because you usually get a couple grand and barely dents your car.
Or opposite, I get dwell negative, and on the way home, I get miserable, and I go buy a bottle of booze, and I get in an accident. Extreme examples, right? But ultimately...
deep down, it's because his wife left him, and that's why he got the bottle.
Everything's neutral. It's how we react to it. So I think that's a great point.
That's a funny example. Being what happens. A dude gets in the fender bender and just finds a reason to go get. I'm gonna get the whiskey and get the bottle.
175. No, I think that's a great point though, because I try to do the same thing now. And then after having the show, launching this show on Weirman Media, it's pushed me to have to be even more like that because I've realized. I didn't have this perspective until I started the show about it's not right, it's not wrong, it's my perspective. I used to have debates with people where I really thought my ideology might be right. And I literally, for the first time in my life, after having this dialogue, realized we all are not right and wrong. That's ego that says right and wrong. It's neutrality that says, let's just have our perspectives, share them, gain value from each other, and move forward. And I think neutrality, testing, measuring, and developing, and being scientific is exactly what Isaac is talking about. But it does require a lot of self-awareness to do all the things that we're talking about.
No, it's all awareness and perspective.
Awareness and perspective, yep. Everything that we talk about is awareness and perspective.
And you have to look at it this way. You can't do all this without emotional stability. So I always do my own inventory. When I look at how I'm responding, it's ego checking me about my emotional stability. Because when I'm in a very good spiritually state, spirituality gives me the emotional balance. That's the greatest gift. And 3 things it gives me: emotional balance, a sense of purpose.
Thanks for being with us.
A sense of purpose, and a connection that's rooted in gratitude. Those 3 things. And when I'm in that state, no matter what happens, I'm not going to react that way. So when I catch myself thinking negatively and reacting a certain way, I know that it's me and my lack of emotional stability, because somewhere in my inventory and my oddity and my spiritual program, I'm lacking. That's lacking. That's totally it. And emotional stability is one of the greatest...
Emotional IQ.
It's one of the,
so valuable.
It's actually the greatest freedom, and it's the greatest benefit, because people can be super intelligent, but if they don't have emotional intelligence, they're not fun to be around.
Out the window.
They're not even... Emotional intelligence combined with intuition is by far the greatest skill set that will separate you and successful being in life. Anyone who has a high emotional IQ is successful. You could be extremely intelligent, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, you're fucking so far away of awareness and who you are, and they're not fun to be around. Like, it's the greatest gift, and number one thing I focus on is because what we do as humans, no one will admit this, and I am part of the guilty, I will do this, is 99% of people are driven by their emotions. Every decision they're making is emotionally driven. They're not aware of it. They don't realize their behavior is rooted in emotion.
Here's another thing.
Right? That's what consumerism, all consumerism is instant gratification.
It's all emotion.
It's emotion. I'm emotional, I'm going to buy this. I'm emotional, I'm going to consume this. I feel this way, I want a Big Mac. I feel this way, I want clothes. I feel this way, I'm going to dump her and get a new girlfriend. I feel this way, I'm going to move here. I feel this way, I'm going to quit my job.
It's a lot about what we do at Weirman Media is about connecting to people's emotions. That is it. That's crucial.
Yeah. It can be positive too.
Totally.
But like, if we're not auditing that and aware of our emotions, we are emotional. I have emotions, but I can audit myself and be aware of them and not let that emotion affect how I make decisions. Exactly. That's emotional intelligence.
You're talking about removing impulsivity.
Yes. I have emotions. I'm aware of them. We're not asking you to shove your emotions down and ignore them.
Just don't let them run your decision making in life.
But that's what, so I want to bring this back. That's what a lot of men do. A lot of men that are smart and have ego and intelligence and logic, which is good men out there, but a lot of them shove their feelings down and just ignore them for decades. And you can see this because they lash out in anger when something happens. They're like, what the fuck? This dude's cool, he's smart, he seems to have everything together, but like every so often he just lashes out in anger. That is an individual, man, who is intelligent and even may be masculine and have good things about him, but his emotions are so far down. And that's why women and men can't work a lot of the times, because actually a lot of women have a high emotional IQ. A lot of women do. They do. And I think that's why they have trouble communicating that to men, because men have a low emotional IQ. The key is sometimes with women, they don't have emotional stability can be so far off that they can't communicate that. But if two individuals have emotional stability and emotional IQ, they can communicate that. But if you don't, you just lash out in anger. That's what men do.
But overall, I want to say that respect and appreciation for others is the most powerful tool of all of it. Like, if you have respect and appreciation for others and empathy and compassion for pain and suffering of others, that's really one of my most powerful tools. Because, Dell, you talked about it, I just was thinking about it. I have been through lots of pain and suffering and ate lots of shit, so it's led me to be more empathetic and open-minded and appreciative and respect other people's pain and suffering. Like my brother talks about it. He's like, the level and degree to which people ate shit doesn't mean you don't have value. We all have been through pain and suffering. So once you realize that, it really gives you a lot of respect and appreciation for other people and their pain and their situation, because you're like, wow, I can relate. So ultimately, it's about being the person that's actually becomes more respectful, appreciative, empathetic, open-minded, and caring for other humans that are dealing with the same exact thing that you have or something similar.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And here, I'll bring this to the big picture here.
I think emotional intelligence and IQ is a great point today, and stability. It's so undervalued today.
Here's the boom moment here. Here's the
boom. The B-O-O-M.
I'm wrapping this up full circle here, bros and ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal.
You gotta get out of here.
It's nothing to do with that. This is the aha moment, so I'll slow down.
Aha.
All this that we're talking about is rooted in accountability. It starts with the audit and the inventory. Then to be aware of this, if you don't do this, and it means you're accountable for this. This is the birth of accountability, and this is the root problem. No one wants to look at themselves because no one wants to be accountable for themselves. And if I'm not willing to do my own audit and inventory all this, I'm never going to be aware of it. And even if I bring it back up, and I'm aware of it now, but I'm not taking any action, I'm not being accountable. This is the birth of accountability. Accountability, self-accountability is key. This is the number one thing, to do that. And we can't, this is where it comes from within. We can sit here and talk about growth steps. We can sit here and talk about all this stuff, but we can't force you to be accountable for yourself.
Nope.
And some people will just never be accountable for themselves. But that's the beauty of all of this. Once you become accountable, there's a freedom in this. Right? This is the birth of accountability.
It's the most powerful tool ever. I agree 100%.
No one, who holds you accountable to do all this shit? You do.
I think what he just talked about, it's the freedom that comes from that. It's so powerful, right? I just did an episode the other day on Q&A, the daily. I have a question and answer episode I do when my brother's not in the studio. And one of them was why control of our time is so important. Because once you have control, like my brother just said, of your time, your energy, and your money, and take responsibility for you have So accountability, responsibility, and empowerment comes from time control. And when I take control and responsibility for my time, my energy, and my actions, as well as what I do with my resources, I'm now taking responsibility and find empowerment and accountability in that. I can't blame anyone else anymore.
Actually. We always have that.
Always.
It's an excuse. I can tell you right now, anytime that my time and energy and money is spent somewhere, and if I audit that, no one's forcing me to do that.
This is the audit that I talk about.
People can sit here and say, well, my time, you're choosing, or some people might say they're not choosing.
You're always choosing. You always have a choice.
What I say is, what I've learned is, we're allowing things to take up our time. And even if we know we don't want to do it, that's on me to hold that boundary and say, nope, I'm no longer allowing the universe, family, friends, et cetera, to pull me in this direction. I'm going to hold myself accountable to spending time, money, and energy on things that I want to do. No one forces us to do anything. And anyone says that, well, I got to work, I got to pay money. Well, if you inventory, you're allowing that to do that. That's just the reality. So, but like my brother says, it starts with auditing that. Once I'm open-minded to look at that, I can then take that step to how do I change? How do I pivot my time, money, and energy towards other resources? But he's right.
What you're talking about is a great point and great topic and great aha moment. It's
accountability.
Most accountability, responsibility, and empowerment comes from taking control of our resources.
Yes.
And what you're talking about is so big.
What you always do is an excuse if you say you can't.
Exactly.
Bullshit.
But I do think there's a lot of people there that don't realize that their decisions are being made by fear and insecurities more than themselves.
Correct. Emotions, like I said, that's rooted in emotions.
Like most people wake up every day and they don't realize, like what you just said, they have to work a job and they have to do this because that's fear. They're fearful of something, and then they have to do that.
It's hilarious. You know what I tell people now about their job? I go, having one job and one stream of income, the COVID has proved that it's bullshit because these companies fire you and lay you off like the snap of a finger. Exactly. I think it's less risky to be your business owner and operate yourself. Because entrepreneurs right now and business owners that know what they're doing are thriving. If you're an employee at a company,
there's so much
you're replaceable. You're just a number. A regular job is not steady. I don't care what anyone says. Look what happens right now. There's millions of people unemployed not getting extension benefits. How is having a dead-end job, $15 an hour or less steady, how is that not risky? That's the most riskiest thing ever.
It's the most I agree. 100%.
It's the riskiest thing ever.
They can fire you in a snap of a finger.
Fire you in a second. And
now your life is up and
you have no health insurance and no way to make money and no skills or financial education knowing how to make money.
100%. I think it's
the riskiest thing ever.
It's irrational fear, right? A lot of people irrationally fear having their own business, but then they sit there and they're comfortable and they're stagnant and stuck in their day job, which is actually the biggest risk.
100%.
Because it's the most, when you're sitting there and you're so reliant and dependent on something, you're putting yourself in a position to get F-U-C-K.
And then you're fearful because you have no idea, because you don't have any skills to do anything, that if you lose your job, you don't know what you're going to do. You have no way of making money. But if you develop skills, you become accountable, then no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to develop skills. I'm going to consume time, energy, and money, develop skills that make me valuable in anything I'm doing. I'm irreplaceable. That's why we're going to bring this big picture here. That's why we're talking about leadership branding, because it's a skill that makes you valuable no matter what you're doing. So what we're doing with podcasting and social media, we want people to become leadership brands because you're always valuable. No matter what happens in the world, if you're a leadership brand and you have these skills, leadership skills, you're always going to have opportunities.
Always.
But it doesn't happen without accountability. So that's why I think the respect and appreciation, bringing it back to accountability, bringing it back to auditing your time and your money and your inventory. No one is accountable but you. You can't blame anybody but you. Like, ever. And until someone is willing to admit that and audit that, you can't move forward. Until someone's willing to have respect for themselves and others and appreciation, it's a waste of time to engage with them. You can try, like we said, with social media, like through haters and stuff. You want to engage to some extent, but at some point you can't even engage after a certain period of time because they're always going to be negative and lack awareness and lack responsibility. So there comes a point in time where we realize that only so many people will listen and do these things. But that's why we're doing this, because we hope someone will have a light go off and be like, okay, you're right. I do need to do an inventory. I do need to respect and appreciate people more. This is my fault. It's on me. I can't blame the world and be the victim of it anymore, because we all take the victim stance, because the victim stance removes accountability.
I think it's a great point.
It removes accountability.
I think what you're talking about is really interesting, connecting it all together and realizing that if you think about it, humans are one of the most unappreciated and disrespected. Like, if you look at humans and their intangible skills, like, we're so capable. If you look at humans and our output we've given as far as how the last 20, 30 years and how much work we do and how valuable we are, I think one of the most undervalued assets in the nation and in the world is how capable we are as humans and the assets and tools we have. Like, if you think about what you're talking about is leadership branding and leaning into our individual strengths and our abilities, I really think that we're more capable than anyone realizes, and I think that a lot of us don't appreciate and understand or even have awareness or respect for the fact of how capable and how strong and dominant as a species we are. So
yeah, we're not even near our potential, and I
nowhere
think
near.
A big part of that, and I don't want to get into too big pictures, but we're not training kids at a young age to be creative and use imagination and open-mindedness and these things. We're kind of educating and training kids to be mindless employees and workers, which is what a big problem of all this is. Like, we can advance our species and humanity forward by teaching creativity and imagination more, and these spiritual principles.
Huge. Creativity and imagination.
And the More Love Nation, and More Love Nation, rooted in empathy, compassion.
Love.
Like, if we teach young kids about... If we focus on More Love Nation for our kids, empathy, compassion, unity, love, respect, and then we teach them to think and use their brain creatively and critically thinking and being imaginative, that's how we move humanity forward, like my brother says. But we can't get there if we're not rooted in these principles. We're going to keep educating people to be mindless workers, to remember the 56 capitals of the United States, and just remember and quote stuff and not actually be imaginative and creative, and teach these kids about competition versus collaboration. We should be teaching kids about collaboration and unity and compassion and love and empathy. That is what we're going to do to move humanity forward and reach our potential, like my brother says. But it all starts with respect and appreciation. Respect and appreciation, we can't move forward with each other because everything is ego, fear, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm better than you or less than. And when we can root in those principles, then we can become, through connecting, and we can become accountable and understanding that through accountability we can move forward. That's how I would sum all this up when it comes to that. But we can't move forward without respect and appreciation. And it starts with me, my inventory and my audit, and not looking at the world. We're talking about the world because we're aware of this now. But me and my brother are still rooted in ourselves and what we do every day. We don't change. We can't control the world. We can't. But we can control ourselves and our emotions and what we give to the world. And we want to give love, respect, appreciation. So I don't really have much.
That's great points, man. We'll wrap it up here. And ultimately, I think what we're talking about is being more vulnerable, authentic, and opening up to more connections with other human beings. And it doesn't happen without being vulnerable, authentic, and being respectful and appreciative of others and the people that we surround ourselves with. Because ultimately, if I'm closed off, if I'm all about me and I don't open up and I'm not opening and connecting with others and being intimate, it's just not going to happen. And that comes back to having respect and appreciation for the human connection and bond, and the understanding that we're all so similar but also all so different. And I think that's a great point. And I think creative imagination is also another great point that you said, Zaya, because if we lean into ambiguities and the different points of view that we all have and how we all interpret things differently, which is ultimately an ambiguity, people can't use the right and wrong. And having launched this podcast and media company and clothing line, More Love Nation, it's made me realize that, because people start to critique our art. And art is the ultimate answer. My brother's right, because listen, people can't, it shines a light on ego, because you can't critique, like you can critique it, but you can't say art is right or wrong. So ultimately, being creative and imagination and focusing on leaning into that shines a light on the problem, which is ego and judgment, because you can't judge someone's creative expression and you can't say it's wrong. Like, so ambiguity, folks, and creative and open-mindedness and imagination is crucial. And I think that's a great point. I think that's a way that we can be more open-minded and creative, and imaginations, let them run rampant and connect and be authentic and vulnerable with others. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and then bringing it back is we're saying do that with these 7 channels on social media at scale.
100%.
You use respect and appreciation when you interact. When you interact online, be raw and vulnerable online. When we're talking about these negative engagements, when you get online, react in that way. So we're saying do this every day of your life. At the gas station with your family, with friends. But what we're saying is apply this online too. Don't just do this in one area of your life and then come online and act like you're Mr. Big Badass and start talking shit. We're saying apply these principles everywhere, but especially online through where the attention is, because that's where it's needed most. That's where we can connect at scale the most.
With the most people.
And that's where we're seeing the most problems in today's world online. When you go online, everyone can agree people aren't doing these things. We need to bring this mindset online to bring unity online and connectiveness. That's what we're saying.
100%, and that requires being vulnerable and authentic. So that's what we're here at Weirman Media doing on a daily basis. We are trying to lean into and be as authentic and vulnerable as possible by being creative, open-minded, and expressing our truths and our realities. My brother always says, what, Zach? Speak your truth, film your hustle.
Film your hustle, and speak your truth. It's very simply, if you don't know what to post out there today, whatever you're doing and hustling every day, film that. Post that online, and then whatever you want to talk about, just speak your truth. That's just, we're saying,
think about that,
speak your awareness and your perspective. Doesn't mean you're right or wrong, just speak your truth.
But that
film your hustle, speak your truth.
That statement exactly summarizes vulnerable, authentic, and exactly all the stuff I just
film your hustle, man. Film whatever I don't care.
Film your hustle, speak your truth, folks.
That's it. It's super simple.
That's what we're doing.
If you don't know what to put out there, film whatever the hell you do every day that you like to do, and then post it online, and then speak your truth when you post it, and speak your truth when you connect to people. And the more you do that, the more empowerment you'll have. Like, holy crap, I'm all online. I got 1,000 fans.
And confidence.
Yeah, I got confidence because I'm speaking my truth now. I don't have to hide who I am and my truth. I don't have to hide what I do. I can speak it, and I can connect. Like, that's it. Film your hustle, speak your truth. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're filming our hustle, and we're speaking our truth on a podcast.
It's not right and it's not wrong. It's simply your perspective. So no one can say it's right or no one can say it's wrong. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Weirman Media, that's what we're all about, and propelling businesses and brands to the intersection of culture and attention via fast, fluid, flexible content creation for the modern day. So I'll let you wrap it up, Zaya.
Shout out, More Love Nation. If anyone wants to be a part of this movement, go to morelovenation.com. We'd love to see you purchase any products. We'd love to offer if anyone's interested in giving a pledge. We do shout outs on our podcast.
We do pre-rolls and post-rolls on our podcast for people that pledge.
We really want people to wear these shirts and all of our clothes
as a reminder.
As a reminder that, like, when hate is loud, that love must be louder.
It's a great point, because since I started wearing them and I started buying the clothes, when you're wearing them, it is a reminder, folks. Like, once you have to, if you're wearing a piece of clothing that says More Love Nation, that's what it stands for, you have a hard time. You're like, it does make you have to live in it. Because you're like, if I'm walking around with a shirt that says More Love, I have to live that.
Yeah, so
it makes you think about it more.
It makes you out of it. And the next thing you know, I catch myself getting caught up and getting angry. It's like, hey, bro, what are you wearing right now, Isaac?
Exactly.
Oh, shit, I'm wearing the More Love Nation. I need to act like more love right now and empathy to this person. It's a daily reminder. Maybe someday people will get shit tatted on. Maybe I can get.
It looks fresh
What if I get some rappers? Next thing
you say, I might get an ink.
Tattoos. People might get More Love Nation tatted on their face. What if you get?
Be quiet.
There's rappers that tattoo their face all the time.
Totally.
What if rappers started tattooing more love on their face?
That
means we know we're doing something right.
A campaign going for something. No, but ultimately, I think that's a great point, man. Ultimately, that's right. Pre-rolls on the podcast, post-rolls, shout-outs on all of our pages, which on all of our Instagram pages and social media pages, you're talking over approximately 15,000 followers. So you get shout-outs on all of our pages. You get a post-roll and pre-roll, and you get a shout-out at the end of the episode for your hashtag. So I've been doing that. If you listen to our episodes, I've been doing that, and I've been adding them in as we go. And that would be for a $100 contribution or pledge to the More Love movement. And you would also then get a shirt given away to someone that is in need of a shirt. So
we just want to see people wear these clothes and then live through the clothes. This message, I want you to wear it and then live it.
Exactly.
Live it. Like
L-I-V-E,
live
folks.
It. Like, don't wear this because it looks cool. Like,
it does look good.
It looks good, but
champion swag, folks.
Like, it's cool, but it's ruining the message. But we're smart. Like, you can't have a clothing brand that looks shitty, even though it's a cool message. You gotta have it look cool.
It all comes back to pricing and quality. And I tell you what, the shirts and the price are phenomenal. You can get this shirt right here for $26.
Champion brand. We partnered with Champion.
Quality. It's champion quality, and it's really nice. And it's
Champion.
That shirt's
we are the champion
$26
of the world.
All right, well, we better wrap it up.
My ADHD is kicking in.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. Your attention at Weirman Media is greatly appreciated, and it is our oxygen.
Boom! People got a lot of value in that one. We were packing nonstop for 45 minutes.
That was good.
There was no pauses and breaks in that action.